Amid rising tensions over the possibility of an imminent US military strike on Iran, Israel has begun dramatically stepping up its defensive measures to prepare for any fallout from a potential escalation in the region. According to reports from the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, several senior Israeli officials have become increasingly vigilant and alert over the past few days as the situation continues to intensify. The paper adds that there are growing concerns within Israeli circles that US President Donald Trump might authorize a strike on Iran within a matter of days, a move that could ignite widespread regional conflict. However, Haaretz also notes that, so far, there have been no concrete signs or official indications from Washington suggesting that any direct military action is already underway. Israeli defense authorities are reportedly preparing both the home front and the nation's military forces for a wide range of possible scenarios, ensuring readiness for any rapid developments. Senior members of Israel's military leadership have acknowledged that President Trump's approach to major foreign policy decisions often remains unpredictable, making future actions difficult to anticipate. At the same time, top officials from the Israel Defense Forces believe there is no absolute certainty that Iran would select Israel as its initial target in the event of an American attack. Analysts suggest that Tehran would likely target Israel only under specific conditions, such as a prolonged and sustained military campaign led by the United States. Separately, Haaretz reports that if Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's leadership were ever to come under serious threat, Iran could retaliate directly against Israel as part of its strategic defense doctrine. Iran has repeatedly vowed to seek revenge against American interests around the world in the event of any military action taken against its territory. The Khamenei-led government has also stated publicly that it would not hesitate to carry out preemptive warning strikes against its adversaries if it believed an attack was imminent. It's important to recall that just months ago, in June, Israel launched strikes on Iran's nuclear and military facilities, triggering a fierce 12-day war that shook the entire region. The United States later entered the conflict by targeting Iranian nuclear infrastructure, prompting Iran to retaliate with missile attacks on the US Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Notably, Israel has once again accelerated its defensive readiness amid reports that Iran recently tested a new, advanced ballistic missile system. Iranian state media claim that this new missile has a remarkable range of up to 10,000 kilometers, significantly increasing Tehran's potential reach, according to multiple reports. If verified, this enhancement to Iran's arsenal would effectively place major US military and strategic locations well within Tehran's strike radius. The missile test, first reported on January 20th by Defense Security Asia, cited Iranian news agencies as confirmation of the long-range test's success. Beyond its threats of retaliation, Iran has also issued stern warnings to Washington against alleged assassination plots targeting Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Iran's top military spokesman, General Abolfazl Sherkachi, warned that any attempt on Khamenei's life would result in catastrophic consequences for the United States and its allies. Sherkachi's statement came in response to growing international reports suggesting that US intelligence might be considering potential plans to eliminate Iran's highest leader. In a Politico interview, President Trump recently remarked that it was time to look for new leadership in Iran, a comment interpreted by many as an indirect challenge to the current regime. Responding to those remarks, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian cautioned that any move to harm or assassinate Khamenei would inevitably lead to an all-out war involving multiple fronts across the Middle East. The Iranian general said, quote, "We do not attach significant importance to Trump's clamor. Trump knows that if a hand of aggression is extended toward our leader, we will not only sever that hand. And this is not a mere slogan, but we will set their world on fire and leave them no safe haven in the region. The enemies are aware of this, yet they continue their cognitive warfare. They know that if even a corner of our territory is violated, we will neutralize the threat before it can expand." One of the major scenarios during the 12-day war was to provoke turmoil in the market simultaneously with military pressure. As soon as the merchants and guilds realized that the enemy was seeking to exploit the situation, they did not delay for even a single minute. On the night of January 9th, all evil groups and parties united and entered the scene in an organized manner. However, the merchants and guilds once again showed self-sacrifice here and disappointed the enemy. While Donald Trump made a bold hint about possibly eliminating Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, reports say the US president himself faced a sudden and serious security scare that caught his team off guard. On the night of January 19th to 20th, the US president was abruptly forced to switch aircraft due to a critical mechanical malfunction, prompting heightened security and technical checks before he could resume his journey. Trump was on his way to Switzerland, traveling to attend the prestigious 2026 World Economic Forum in Davos, where world leaders gather to discuss global policy, trade, and international security concerns. Earlier that very day, Trump had issued a fiery warning to Iran, cautioning its leadership against plotting any murder conspiracies or targeting US officials, saying Washington would respond with unprecedented force. Trump said, quote, "The whole country is going to get blown up. I have very firm instructions. Anything happens, they're going to wipe them off the face of this earth," unquote. Meanwhile, President Trump continues urging his top aides and Pentagon officials to formulate what he calls a decisive military operation against Iran, a plan that could reshape the balance of power in the Middle East. It's worth remembering that Trump had previously called off planned airstrikes against Iran, justifying his decision by saying that Tehran had reportedly stopped killing protesters on the streets, a claim that drew sharp criticism. For several weeks, Trump had vowed publicly to step in and support the people of Iran as nationwide protests escalated, erupting into one of the largest waves of dissent the country had seen in decades. According to reports dated January 21st, at least 5,000 protesters have been killed across Iran since the unrest began, a staggering figure that has sparked outrage and drawn global condemnation from human rights organizations. Tehran, however, has claimed that the protests were fueled and funded by foreign powers, specifically Israel and the United States, accusing them of orchestrating unrest to weaken Iran's government from within.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.